We really should have waiting parents, not waiting children. Over 100,000 children are available for adoption through the U.S. foster care system, and 27% don't have anyone, like a relative or foster parent, in the process of adopting them. 60% are between the ages of 5 and 17, and 2/3 are part of sibling groups of 2 to 8 children. Hey listener, my name is Marcy Bursack. My husband and I chose adoption as our plan A. After blogging about our journey adopting a sibling pair, I began mentoring families right in my own living room. That passion grew into the Forgotten Adoption Option, a nonprofit I now lead as a volunteer while working full-time in the tech industry. From my blog, 3 books, app, and classroom lesson to now a 45-minute course called Foster Care Adoption Simplified, which you can find at ForgottenAdoptionOption.com, I've created practical, heartfelt resources to help families navigate the foster care adoption process. As you listen to this episode, I encourage you to ask yourself, who in my circle needs to hear this? It's often people in what we call helper professions, people like therapists, nurses, doctors, police officers, firefighters, social workers, and teachers like my husband. These are the people who tend to step forward to adopt children from foster care. But this work isn't only about becoming an adoptive family, it's also about becoming an advocate and ally. Every waiting child deserves not just a forever family, but a community of people who champion their future. Whatever led you to this podcast, I am thrilled that you are here. My mission is simple, to help every waiting child be with their forever family. And that's exactly why I host this podcast.
Welcome to the Forgotten Adoption Option podcast. In this episode, we'll learn about the role an adoption attorney plays in the child welfare system. During the pandemic, my new neighbors moved in next door, and from a distance, I introduced myself from the sidewalk with Paula, the new neighbor, while her dogs were in their front yard. That simple welcome to the neighborhood bonded us in several ways. As I told Paula we adopted our 2 children, and she responded with a curiosity about how to do that, and that she was considering about adoption in the future. Paula became an editor for my first book, The Forgotten Adoption Option, and then once it was published, she loaned it to her great aunt Eva, who was an adoption attorney in Puerto Rico. Hi, Eva.
Hi, my name is Eva.
This is so crazy, folks. Okay, so I'm actually in Puerto Rico recording this. So after reading The Forgotten Adoption Option, Eva told Paula that she loved it and found it incredibly informative. In fact, if you were following me on social media, you might have seen this quote, like on my social posts. Eva is now a retired adoption attorney from Puerto Rico. She spent her working years navigating the legal process to help children find forever families. As the 2025 Missouri Mother of the Year, I've been invited to attend the American Mothers National Convention here in Puerto Rico. And while the convention has been held in places like Nebraska for years, they have moved it for the 90th anniversary to Puerto Rico. And so when I learned that I was coming and my daughter decided to make a girls trip out of it, I reached out to Paula to see if Eva might be open to meeting in person. And not only was she available, she took me on a tour. And we just had a lovely lunch, and here we are recording in her kitchen, which is so amazing. So hopefully you can smell this incredibly yummy Puerto Rican smell. So we're just going to kick it off. First, thank you for hosting us. This has been such an awesome day. And I wonder if you could help us understand, because you have a law degree, you spent a lot of time as an attorney. What led you to become in the adoption space an attorney?
I think it was mercy. It was so expensive to adopt a kid in Puerto Rico. Lawyers charge from $4,000 to $6,000 a year. I used to make it for free. They only pay the fees the court asks. I did it for the children, the abandoned children, like I'm doing now with the old people in my family, taking care of them also.
You just felt like you wanted to take care of people, which is so sweet. And I think you mentioned too, your church was kind of doing some things and you were like, I have this skill set. So how did that all happen?
Well, when I found out that my church was trying to make a center to receive abandoned kids and to make it available for adoption, I said, hello, I'm here, whatever you need. And I was the lawyer for the first few years of Adoptando in Puerto Rico. Later on, my husband got sick, very sick. I had to take care of him. I decided to retire from the profession.
And here we are. So Adoptando, for those that might not be in Puerto Rico right now, so your church started this like ministry, and it's a lot of things. We went there today. One thing they have is a group home for children from birth to age 12.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an old abandoned school. And one of the brothers in the church had a vision. And he decided, he had three. First, he had a girl adopted. Then he was to adopt a boy. And when he went to the Cuna San Cristobal, where they have the children for adoption, she had a brother. And he took them both. And he comes to me and tells me, can you take my case to court? And that was my first adoption case. I knew I ended up crying a lot.
Because you knew the family and you got to be part of a family coming together.
Yep.
I think it's worth crying a lot.
From then on, I kept on going until my husband got so sick I couldn't take it anymore. It was a risk. If I made a mistake, the Supreme Court would retire my title. Not only that, all the community, all the lawyers in Puerto Rico will know about it. And I decided to hang my gloves.
In the meantime, you're helping multiple children and sibling groups. And we'll get into that in a little bit too. So in the States, the foster care system has foster parents who open their home to care for children, care at various levels of group home environments run by workers who might be called like house parents. And then adoptive parents who have adopted children and sibling groups in foster care. But Puerto Rico is a little bit different. And so I think from what we learned today, so a child goes into kind of the system and they first kind of stay the night at like a social worker's office, is what I understand, for a couple of weeks, maybe sometimes.
That's correct.
Then they're calling all these group homes to help a child or siblings go into a group home. And they stay in that group home for some time, quite some time, while the parents are trying to kind of get their act together, right?
Yeah, rehabilitate the parents.
Okay.
They try. Very low percent does it.
Okay. They make a plan. It doesn't always map out.
Doesn't work.
So then kids hit their 12th birthday, and then they move into a foster home or
another institution from 12 to 17.
Okay, a different kind of group home setting.
Yes.
Or they might get adopted by then.
Yeah.
Or they might move in like grandma, like a kin placement, right?
Yeah, it could happen also.
Which is so interesting. So it's not identical for those that are listening that might be in the U.S. It's not identical to the foster care system in the U.S. It's the same system, which is interesting. It just looks a little bit different. And then I learned today, too, that kids, when they're in the institution, when they're in the group home, there's a rule that they can't really stay at the same one more than about a year because the rule
a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah, they can stay. They are supposed to. What they do, they remove them, and later on they bring them back.
And they remove them because they don't want them to make a bond. That's the why.
But then they bring them back. Obvious, they will stay there until the age where they can't stay there anymore. They move to another home.
I don't like this rule. I think it's a silly rule. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It is.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so before you retired, so today we went to this local like group home for kids birth through age 12. Can you help us know before you retired, what would you be doing with this particular center, any adoption center?
If I still have my lawyer's license, I would still be in the court. But at my age, I think I can give a chance to another lawyer. I loved what I did, but I like taking care of older people, especially my family. I have one here, he's number 7. I have taken care of my father, my mother, my grandma, my sister-in-law, my ex-husband, because we were divorced and I had to take care of him, a cousin. I guess it's like the Bible says, if I give you a talent, you know what a talent is? And you don't use it, I'll take it away from you. I don't want God to take away my talents. That's why you use them.
That's why you use them. So when you were still an attorney, a practicing attorney, would you go, I think you told me today it'd been 5 years since you had been to this particular center, would you meet the kids, or who would you interact with when you would go?
Yes, I used to meet the kids, but I meet them in the court. I wasn't allowed to go and see them in the homes or talk to the social service. No, with all the documents, the day the court says this is the day, there I was.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I met the kids that day, but all of them were moving. I cry in every case. I didn't put makeup on my eyes because I cried so much. Mm-hmm. The last one, there were 3 girls, all at once. And when the court said, okay, they're yours, they go look at the parents and she said, are you my father already? I have to cry. I have to cry. It's moving. Sorry, you can cut this out.
You cut this out. This is kids.
3
We can't
girls,
see their
they wonder,
family.
Finally,
yes.
You are my father.
Yes. Because they knew that it wasn't waiting,
No,
and they weren't waiting.
They were about 5, 7, and 9, and they took all 3 at once. He's an engineer. He works for FEMA. She's a housewife. She takes care of them. But that was my most moving case.
Because the girls, their sisters, they didn't have to wait anymore. They've been waiting together.
Yeah,
they've been waiting
such a long time. Every time there's a hearing, something was missing. When I take the case, well, since I work with the court and family, I knew what I had to do. I asked the hearing when I knew that I have everything. The hearing took from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how many documents it was.
It's a lot of time.
But it was worth it.
Which is incredible.
Don't cry, you'll make me cry also.
I will not look at you in the eyes for the remainder of the Okay, so something that our listeners might be wondering is, what is an adoption attorney? Maybe they have kids that are looking for a career path, or maybe they want to go back to school, or somewhere in between. Can you help us know, like, what does an adoption attorney do? And then outside of that court part, and you mentioned a lot of paperwork, what are you doing with your time?
Well, first we have to make sure that the family department has removed the parental rights or at all. So it's a process. Remove it, take it. This is the time when they say this is it. I have to make sure that is right. I have to make sure that I have all their birth certificates, the marriage certificates of the parents, because at that time you had to be married. That I had all the.
You didn't married to adopt from foster care. Is that what you're saying? You had to be married if you wanted to adopt?
Yeah,
that used to be a rule. Okay, did not know that.
No, now it's not like that. But in that time, unless you wanted to adopt alone, or you marry the father of the girl or a boy, then you adopted him. That way you could. But couples not married were not allowed to. That was years ago.
Didn't know that.
I make sure all the documents were in order, were all of them. I didn't ask for the hearing. Please tell me when can the hearing be, unless I had all the documents. Because I know it was a waste of time, and it hurt the parents, the adoptive parents, and it hurt the kids also.
So really, you collecting all of these legal documents is what kind of like makes the hearing happen. Sure. So that's really helpful for anyone going through that process right now, that like whatever you're asked for to turn in.
The other thing I did, I used to talk to the social service, the person that was in charge of that. I asked, are you sure? Are you sure his mother, the mother don't want them? She will usually they will tell me they're living on the street with drugs. That's mostly what you see here. They don't want it. See, you talked to one of she told you the story of her daughter. The one that she told you she was when the baby was born, she was in the hospital with the mother. She was going to abort it. A lady in the church knew about it and talked to her. She was in the hospital. She paid for all the hospital. And when the baby was born, they took her to the mother. That's what the hospital always said. She looked at her and she said, okay, she's pretty, thank God. You can take her away. Like, okay, that pocketbook is good. No, I don't want to take it away.
Wow.
That
And
way.
so you're talking about there's a particular one of the staff members at Adopt an Auto today. That was why that she had involved the organization is her own situation adopting an infant. So as we talked over the phone to prepare, and you just kind of hinted at it too, we talked about 3 sisters that you helped get adopted. I think it was your last case. And I wonder if you could tell us about any other stories that have been really meaningful to you as you've helped families live together.
I had one that had been removed in Ponce. If you know where Ponce is, it's the other side of the island in the south. Southeast. This is northwest. And the court released them and made the decision. When I'm going to make all the documents, I realized there was something missing in the decision of the court. I make a motion for the judge to fix it. Mm-hmm. The documents are in the court. She says, no, everything is okay. I don't see anything wrong there. Okay, fine. I make a second motion telling her what was the mistake, why the adoption couldn't. She insists it was okay. Okay, if I can do it that way, what do? You have to do another way. I knew the mother of the head in family departments, her mother. And I called her and she gave me her phone number. I called her and I said, listen, honey, I have this problem, and explained everything for her. She was a smart woman. Mm-hmm. He said, what's wrong with the judge? You are right. But see what you can do with this case. Because I don't know who is the social service that attended the case. What she did, it was in Ponce, fine. She called Ponce. She found out who was. She called her and told her, you go to the court, you tell her what is wrong with it and tell the judge that she has to fix it unless she wants to be in the newspaper. Uh-oh. That's why we use the newspaper. She fixes from today to tomorrow. But it took me a long time. Motion goes, motion denied. Motion goes, motion denied.
That's interesting because a lot of your work isn't necessarily the process of paperwork. It's kind of moving people to get them
Claro, of course. And besides, she's the judge. She should know.
Right. Third person in authority.
I don't know what was it, but that's why these girls, when finally the judge goes and bang, okay, the court declares you daughters of such and such. Huh.
Whew. That's a lot. I wonder, kind of going into your adoption attorney mind, I wonder the adoptive parents that you were working with, did they talk to you?
Yes.
Like what kind of relationship did you have?
They usually tell me when there were many suspensions. She used to tell me, I'm so tired of this. If it wasn't because I love them so much,
absolutely,
I will give up. And I think, I don't know if I should say this for the record, but I think the system is prepared for this, because the more children go, less social services they need, jobs that they lose, help the federal government gives a lot of money to the government for these things. The less they receive. That's my opinion. Probably I'm wrong, but
it
goes on and on and on. Why? You want to get rid of them. You want them to have some mother that take care of them. It's frustrating.
They're kids.
You try to fix the system. You fight with the judge. You fight with the clerk. You fight in the social services office. And you get tired. And now I fight with my chicken and my kittens. No problem.
You're tired of the courts. You're not tired of your own chickens. I wonder, for listeners who might be in school or just even been thinking about, like, hey, should I be an attorney? do I have it in me to be an attorney? I know we had talked even how you thought about going to politics and had a family member that said, no, not until after I die. So what would you say, maybe if I or my daughter who's sitting here were wanting to become an attorney, what would you tell us?
I tell her, go ahead, but don't give up. Just because the judge says no, if he's wrong, he's wrong. You go up to the appeal court, you go to the Supreme Court. Don't give up. I gave up because I was old enough to give up. And my husband was sick. And I have so many problems in the house. My mother was sick. I was taking care of her also. I gave up. But a young person, don't give up. Somebody has to break the system.
Somebody does. Eva,
For the good of our children.
Yes. The good of our children. I feel like
and the profession, the law profession is great. It makes me feel so good. You help so many people, whether they have the money to pay you or not. Most of my cases, I used to work. I worked 23 years for the government in the court. But then I had to retire. I decided to take it. I only charge whatever the court charges. I don't have the name in English. Los sellos.
We would call it like pro bono or like for free.
No, I used to do it free. No pro bono. Mm-hmm. Pro bono pays you. It's a system for social services, for legal aid. They use pro bono and you can pay. And they pay you, not much, but they pay you. No, I did it. Well, of course, I didn't need the money. If I needed the money, I had to do it. But if I was okay financially, I only charged them the fees the court charges. That was it.
Because we're helping kids. We're helping kids. As we close, I wonder.
Kids and parents.
Kids and parents, you're right.
And the system, I get them off their back.
Yes. Well, okay, before we close, I actually want to add this in because listeners might be like, your guest Eva just called herself old. You have a birthday coming up in November. How old will you be turning?
80.
I think that's absolutely amazing.
I'll be 80. And I left my hair white.
So pretty.
So I can look 80.
It's very trendy now to have
white
I
know,
hair.
But I want to look 80.
You set the trend.
When you get old and you have white hair, if somebody tells you something, you can say, and so what? I do what I please. At my age.
You've earned it.
I earned it. That's right.
So great.
I earned it.
And your birthday's during National Adoption Month. I think is very cool. So my closing question is, I know that you do get to see it in different social relationships, some of the kids that have gotten adopted, some of the families that you've helped connect. And if you had all of them in a single room and maybe they were throwing a party for you and they could all say thank you and then you were put up in front to respond, what would you say to them?
I don't know what. If that happens, I don't know what I will say. I will squeeze them like the chickens squeeze the chicks. I don't know what I would do. I cry in every one of them. I cry of happiness, but I cry of frustration also. Why did it have to take so long?
I agree. You are loved, and I'm so grateful to be with you. I'm so glad that Paula connected us.
I'm so glad you're here also, that enjoy my food.
It's very, very good. It's very good. Well, thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. It truly matters that you listen today, because by tuning in, you're opening your heart to the stories of children in foster care, sparking empathy and starting to see how your unique role, whether as a friend, advocate, or even as a future adoptive parent, can bring hope and belonging to a child or sibling group that is waiting. I also want to personally invite you to reach out to me to ask anything that's on your heart. I promise no judgment. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and I mean it when I say you can ask anything. I know it can feel awkward to ask questions publicly, and that's why I carve out time during my lunch hour and evenings while my kids and husband are at martial arts to mentor others one-on-one. Your questions matter, your curiosity matters, and most importantly, the role you are playing in helping children in foster care matters. Together, we can bring hope and belonging. Until next time, take care and keep the conversation going.